I know it's been a while since my last video. I've just been working on trying to get some size going. I mean, I'm doing all right, I think. I'm trying to get more, but at the same time, I don't want to get like too much body fat going. I mean, you can still see my separation a bit, but I think it's getting close to time to cut down. Right now though, I'm weighing about 260 pounds at approximately 12 to 15% body fat. That being said, it's gonna be kind of rough to cut down, you know? I'm not sure where my goal is really. It's just really to get some more definition out of what I've built. Because I built a little bit, but at the same time, I need to cut down a lot. So here we go. Starting the cut, starting today. And I know I say that a lot, but I just need to start. I need to get it going. Got some new gym equipment in the gym right now. I'm gonna show you guys. So we've got over here a calf machine. Real nice calf machine right there. Actually, you can add bands to it. We got our power rack, attachments over there, and we got a few dumbbells, nothing crazy. That being said, I really don't use the home gym for very much, to be honest. I'll be training mostly at gyms because the convenience of being able to switch weight is a lot better at a actual gym, you know? So, yeah. As far as everything else goes, pre-workout right now, I'm trying to go back to my normal 300 milligram pre's. So I'm easing off the gas with that because anytime I'm on vacation, I start to end up using more and more pre-workout. And right now I've really cut down on that pre-workout. So the workout was still great though. It really didn't impact it that much. I was using NitroFlex today, so it's a pretty solid pre-workout. I mean, it never really disappoints even when you're pretty tired. Which ironically, I end up tired whenever I'm on a break. That's probably because of, again, the response to using those stimulants. Now, that being said, what I plan on using currently is a type of fat burner to help accelerate my metabolism again, bring it back to where it was. Because, again, I am going to start getting more definition, which will in turn make me look bigger in the long run. Right now, like I said, I'm at 260, so I guess the goal would be, hopefully, with like a really slow approach, about 250 pounds, shredded as possible. That being said, it's a long road. I'm gonna start documenting each step of that road, one step at a time. Really, it's one day at a time is how you succeed in those long-term goals. So make sure that you are doing your best to ensure that the day itself is utilized 100%. Don't say tomorrow. Trust me, it's really easy to say, well, tomorrow I'll start this, tomorrow I'll start that. Start it immediately. You know, just go for it, because if not, you're gonna end up spinning your wheels for a little bit. Which I haven't really been spinning my wheels though, because I have been progressively adding weight to not only my frame, but also to the bar. So my 1 rep max has become my 3 rep. Everything else in between has gone up incredibly, especially my shoulder press. Now I'm easily handling 100-pound dumbbells for 6 or better. And that being said, it all depends on the setup, because the setup's really hardcore. Like if you ever see a video of me setting up the dumbbells, it goes like this and this. And actually I could show a clip right now.
There we go. No bullshit.
I said, I've been able to grind through heavier and heavier dumbbell presses overhead, just like that, boom. And heavier and heavier dumbbell press in general, just incline, decline, flat. I don't really do decline very much because one of my friends tore his entire pec off of the insertion here. Absolutely devastated, you know. And it is a really long road to recovery. I would be very cautious. It happens though. I mean, there's always a risk in any type of heavy weightlifting. Like every time I get under the bar, any time I get with the really heavy dumbbells, there's a lot of risk, but there's also a lot of reward. Where there's more risk, there's more reward. So that being said, I mean, I've been taking a lot of crazy risks, but I've been getting a lot of pretty good rewards out of it. That being said, don't take those risks unless you know for a fact that you're ready to be doing that much. I mean, really, honestly, like you got to be sure 100% that you're ready for the weight before you handle it, especially if you're going to handle it in a way that's very controlled. Because even though exhibiting control over the weight actually helps prevent injury, it can also cause injury, which everything can cause injury. So if I don't, or I shouldn't say if I don't control, if I handle a weight that's technically outside of my abilities and I do it in a way that's super duper controlled, you know, if I'm like moving the weight like real slow like that, and then it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. That being said, I'm debating what to do at this point because the bulk has been so good to me, and really I haven't gained a whole ton of body fat. I mean, I gained about maybe 2 to 3%, but over considering, right, that I have gained about 30 to 40 pounds of what I can only assume is some glycogen and obviously some muscle, because muscle, when you dehydrate it, it is not very heavy at all. But since muscle holds glycogen, I have approximately gained about, I don't know, let's cut the number in half and let's say that I gained about maybe 15 to 20 pounds of lean mass. That's a lot, but at the same time, you're gonna gain some body fat. It's just inevitable unless you're using extracurricular supplements, which I have not to this point, you know, mostly because of the health risks associated with it. It's really dangerous to use anything beyond basically what's at the supplement shops. Even then, you got to be kind of cautious as to what you put into yourself, because not everything that's a supplement is necessarily geared towards health, obviously. Like some supplements are actually geared towards just like, well, let me see how much muscle I can put on, and who cares about the health consequences, which obviously you should care. Obviously, what I recommend is if you see any negative signs or any type of issues, highly recommend do not continue the usage of the supplement. But yeah, that being said, my lifts have gone through the roof lately, and I do plan on documenting the journey to myself getting more cuts, more shredded. Because again, I am close enough in range to being shredded that if I did cut down maybe just 2% body fat, I'd look a lot bigger. Because right now, the cameras will never do me justice or anything really. Because again, the cuts are not there. If the cuts were there, then I would definitely look a lot bigger, you know, in person. Or not, I shouldn't say in person, I should say on camera, because a lot of guys I've seen at the gym, they have a lot of cuts and they look incredible on camera, but then when you meet them in person, there's not that much actual muscle there. It's mostly just really good conditioning. That being said, I recommend highly to just basically do a recomp. If you're gonna ask like, what should I do if I'm a beginner? I always say recomp. Recomp is the best because you're basically, that's the only time you really can recomp is when you're a beginner. Because when you're a beginner, you can more or less drop body fat well, building some lean mass. As you get more advanced, it's not going to happen, really. I mean, because the extent to which you have to push yourself is beyond most people's capabilities. Now, for me, on the other hand, I always say, if you have one more rep in you, that's too much. Go to failure on almost every set, with an exception of warm-up sets. Because again, unless you're powerlifting, which I'm not powerlifting, I'm just bodybuilding, then in that case you want to do like a type of programming where you basically limit the amount of exertion and you do more speed work and you do more band presses and more techniques, really. When in bodybuilding, it's just raw effort, just raw will, which is just throwing weight up and throwing weight down. Yeah. As crazy as that sounds, you're like, wow, that sounds crazy. Yeah, it is. It can be crazy, but what I recommend 100% is just give it everything you've got. I mean, that's what I'm going to do when it comes to this cut. Because if you set your mind to something, you got to remember, do not try to tackle a goal over a long run, like over months. Try to tackle one day at a time. That is where you'll succeed at your goals. That being said, keep training out there. If you're watching these videos and you're training along with me, we're gonna basically, if you follow along with me, you could follow along with me and take the same path I am to getting shredded, if that's your goal currently. Or if your goal is to put on some mass, what I recommend 100% is train with more intensity and perhaps maybe a bit less volume. Now, I'm not saying to train like, I don't know. Some people just don't train effectively. For example, they'll be on the bench and they'll throw on 2 plates or maybe even, I don't know, 2.5 plates. And they'll get to working and they'll hit a rep, hit a rep, hit a rep, and they'll count to 6, for example. Oh, I got 6 reps. That's part of my programming. I'm done, and they rack it up. You can do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, but if your goal is to just put on size, to actually put on muscle mass, that wouldn't be as effective as if you were to just take a weight that even is perhaps lighter, not much lighter, because I'm not telling you to work out within like a super comfortable range. I mean, I've been known to go as far as like 2 to 3 reps, you know, sometimes even 1 rep, like just basically testing my max, which is fine. You don't want to like do it constantly, but you know, you want to do it at least every now and then. But what I recommend highly is just take a weight that is fairly difficult for you and use it until you cannot. You just lift the weight until you cannot lift the weight. If it helps you to have a spotter, I highly recommend, well, get a gym friend, get someone to help you out, and you're gonna hit that weight. And you aren't gonna worry about, oh, well, if I fail, I fail. Well, yeah, if you fail, you fail. The spotter will help you out, hopefully, assuming that they know what they're doing, which not every spotter will. Some spotters will just like either help you way too much or just let you like freaking die. That being said, what I recommend highly is just intensity. Be intense, train till you cannot, and do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. Now you might say, well, overtraining, does it exist? Yes and no. Overtraining is only possible if you're not eating enough, sleeping enough, or drinking enough water. That's really the only way you're going to overtrain. Now, that being said, don't make some of the old mistakes I made where I was training like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, because then at that point, you're actually creating muscle breakdown and you are not repairing said muscle. So what I recommend more is just go with a really high intensity to where you're just pushing it to the absolute limit, but shorten the duration of time in which you do that. So really your training sessions should be looking at about, and I mean, I understand, like, especially depending on the split, right? If you're doing an upper lower, you want to get about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours in, but that's like maximum, right? And then for example, doing like a bro split where you're just hitting maybe shoulders one day and then you're hitting arms the next, and you know, if you're doing a split like that, then I highly recommend to maybe do it for only about 45 minutes to an hour, but just hit that intensity, hit that real hardcore intensity. And you might say, well, I don't mean just go under the bar and hit it and then stop and then wait a minute and then go for it again. No, I don't mean that. I mean to do it in an intelligent way, a way that you're utilizing 100% of your effort basically. So rest long enough to where you do in fact basically utilize 100% of your energy. Because if I do, for example, a warm up with 225 and I throw the bar up, leave it on the rack for a bit, and I time it specifically. What I recommend doing is don't do that, feel it. And you might say, well, what do you mean feel it? I mean that you're going to rest as long as basically you need to. So you can rest long enough to where you feel like, okay, I'm ready to, again, lift with 100% intensity. Which might be hard as a beginner. So as a beginner, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to rest for a specified amount of time, though a minute and a half seems a little bit too little. I would recommend resting for about 2 minutes in between each set. Now, me, on the other hand, it all depends on the set and how I feel. If the set was really hard and I'm feeling real tired, I'm going to rest longer. If the set was real easy and I don't feel tired, I'm gonna rest less, obviously. So just do it in a prescribed way, basically. So you're lifting in a way that just makes sense, adequately speaking. That being said, whatever your goals are, I hope you all achieve them out there. Maybe I'll do some supplement reviews coming up, you know, and just get back into actually making videos at least weekly would be great. It's really hard because when you're training this much and working and then you get a vacation, typically even when you get the vacation, you're just pretty tired, yeah. That being said, again, I highly recommend to you all, just go for the goal that you have, but just hit it at 100%. No stops, no breaks. When you understand what your goal is and you're willing to give it 100%, you don't even have to listen to my advice. You don't have to listen to anybody's advice. You've just got to go for that goal at 100%. Yeah, so that's what I started with. I didn't really listen to any advice per se when I first started lifting weights. I mean, I did to an extent, but I didn't let it justify, like, in other words, I didn't mean like let it be like, okay, well, this guy said this, it's the honest truth, it has to be 100%. And it's like, no, not necessarily. Do your own research, figure out your own training protocols. And actually, I just got a great idea for some new vids. What I'm gonna start doing is basically training videos, showing you guys the workings of effective training for putting on size. So for example, I'll do some for mass and I'll do some exercises for when you're trying to get cut. So hopefully those videos come out soon. We'll see what happens. See you guys later. And again, whatever your goal is, you can achieve it. You just have to put in 100% effort every day, whether that be towards your diet, towards your training protocols, or just towards intelligent programming to where you are not basically spinning your wheels. That being said, take care, guys. See you later.